Welcome to the 100th Monkey Radio with Tom and LFE. We are making this video to let you guys know of some changes that we're making at the beginning of this year. We're kind of getting rid of our subscription system and, going to kind of an honor system as far as that energetic exchange that we need to happen with the show. I mean, the show's been paying for itself for the last 7 years, and through the subscription system. But I want to get this material out to more people. Yeah. I want more people to have access to that second hour, and not feel obligated to subscribe for a monthly subscription or whatever. I think it's a necessary part of this evolution that we're going through that there's an energetic exchange of some kind.
Yeah.
And frankly, we need something to be able to keep the show going. I mean, it does cost some money. Yeah. I mean, it costs, several $1,000s to keep what we're doing going every year.
Yeah, not counting the time that we put in.
Yeah, not timing the time and effort and energy that we spend on a weekly basis bringing this stuff to you guys. So, there has to be some kind of energetic exchange. And we decided we're going to put it on this format because, number one, we want more people to have access to the second hour content. And, number two, I've got faith in my fellow man. Yeah. I know that our listeners out there are going to step up to the plate and cover our bases for us.
Yeah.
I mean, just take a look at our archives and all the different people that we've had through the last 7 years. I mean, we've had there's some amazing shows there. So if there's going to be a donate or a subscription tab that's with every one of these shows, and we expect everybody to do one of two things. They're either going to help us out financially, or they're going to pay it forward in some form or fashion. Yeah. And whether it's passing this stuff off to somebody else, or doing some, helping a lady across the street, whatever it happens to be. So the tabs, the subscription format's still going to be available if you want to make like a monthly donation. If you want to make something that's recurring, that's awesome. That helps us out tremendously. Or if you want to just make a one-time donation, that's always available too.
Yeah. And it's up to you how much you want to donate. I mean, if you could afford $1, $1 helps.
Exactly.
If 1,000 people donate $1, I mean, that'll get us a long ways. And not only in the show, but in the whole background of doing the show. With our computer work and the editing and the software and hardware we need. And the upgrades to the technology we need.
Right.
to help the show along. $1's not. Not too much, but I mean, even if it's not $1, just like Tom was saying, pay it forward. Give it to somebody else. Spread the information you learn, or share the shows on Facebook or something like that. Let's get this information out there, and especially with the second hour, like we really get into a lot of meat and potatoes with the second hour. I mean, the first hour is kind of our warm up hour, and the second hour is where we really get into it. So we really want that second hour to be out there for everybody to listen to and to absorb that information.
Yeah, we've got WordPress on the website, so what I think initially what we're going to do is we're going to stick up a comment section on the main page, a WordPress comment section, or at least a link to the WordPress comment section where people can go and drop their comments or suggestions or whatever. If you want somebody specific, us to get somebody specific on the show.
Yeah.
It's great for us to hear that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or any comments or suggestions,
Yeah. Or if you check the website and you see an upcoming guest that we're going to have, feel free to email us specific questions you have for that guest. And we'll try to work them into the first or second hour. Or if you have ideas for guests that we should have on the show, email us that too.
Good stuff. We're going to also be adding in the info tab underneath this second hour that you're about to listen to. There's also a link there, direct email to the info@the100thmonkeyradio.com if you want to just drop us an email. So, all right, guys. Well, I want to thank everybody for all the years of support that they've given us, and To our current subscribers, the choice is yours on whether or not you leave your subscription as is and continue the recurring stuff, or whether you drop that. I mean, this is, it's all up to you guys. So we thank you for your continued support, and man, on with the show, right?
Yeah, on with the show.
All right. Namaste, my friend.
Welcome back to the 100th Monkey Radio with Tom and LFE and our special guest tonight, Marilyn Jenett. We want to thank everybody who's tuning in for the second hour. Thank you for listening. Thank you for helping support the show. Much love and much gratitude to everyone. Thank you. So, Marilyn, we'd like to start this hour off with this quick question. Might not be so quick, actually. But, so let's say there's an individual who's working on themselves and who's in the process of changing the way they speak, the words they use, changing their emotional connection to these words, but the partner that they're with isn't on the same path. How does that affect us, or if it does affect us, how does that prevent the manifestation power from happening, or if it does,
what can we do in that situation to keep it flowing?
Yes.
Okay, that's a heavy question, but it's a really good one.
I thought it was a quick question.
Well, let's put it this way. It's a quick question and it's a heavy answer, profound answer. So I'm going to have to be very truthful about this one. Some people may not like the answer, but it's all about truth here. I've had to deal with that over the years with students. And here's really the best answer, the true answer. In lesson 1 in the homework, that, the lesson that's in the book, and the first lesson of the Feel Free to Prosper program, they're one and the same. Part of the homework is this is one of the homework requirements, no negative statements about finances to your lover, your spouse, your coworkers, your creditors. And I also give ways to talk to many of the people, like creditors, okay, and what you can do without jeopardizing the homework you're doing. But no negative statements about finances. And I mean that. And what that means is you need to either stay away from people who are negative. I say about finances because, again, the prosperity is about all aspects, and these lessons can be used in every area of life. But for our purposes here, because we're focusing on income in the book, in that lesson in the book, is that you either have to stay away from those people, or you need to tell them and mean it in no uncertain terms. You will not engage in negative conversation about finances. I really mean about anything. You won't engage in negative conversation. Now, what does this mean? Because there are spouses and partners and sometimes coworkers that don't want to let go of their negative mindset. Well, my personal opinion is, if somebody cares about you, if somebody loves you, they may have poor conditioning. They may be playing out their conditioning through their lives, but if they care about you, they will respect you. They will respect your wishes. And I would think they would want to do the homework with you. If you're in a situation with a partner and you both want to prosper and succeed, I would really question a partner who did not want to better themselves. Now, in many cases that will happen. Sometimes I've had someone's spouse say, "Oh, you do the work and we'll see what happens." And then within a short time they say, "Give me that lesson," because things start to happen, so they become excited themselves. But I've also had the opposite, where a partner would absolutely not accept any of this. In fact, there was one situation when I first started, it threw me when I first became a prosperity teacher, where she had to hide what we were doing from her husband. He was apparently very abusive, because at one point she called. She said, "I can't do it. I'll have to stop." I think, and my opinion is that if someone is so misaligned, if you're so not aligned with a partner or with a spouse, why would you be with them? Why would you not want to be with someone who nurtured you, who wanted you to succeed, who wanted to succeed with you? But even if they did not want to do the homework or follow some people are just naturally very positive and supportive. That's fine too. They'll see the results that happen. And by the way, when you're doing this lesson work, when you're applying the lesson and applying these teachings, it will not only affect you, it will affect everyone that's connected with your consciousness. Your children, your partner, anyone who's connected with you will be affected. But if there is someone who's so negative that they're going to keep bringing you down, it's like the great Dr. Murphy again. Let me explain what he said, and this will give you your answer. He said, if you gave a taxi driver 2 different addresses, you'll never get to your destination. So during this critical time, at the beginning of changing your consciousness, think of yourself as a scientist in the laboratory of mind. And you don't want any contaminants to get into your brew, into your potion, especially at the beginning. So it's very important, if you want to succeed with the lesson teachings, and you really want to, I have thousands of testimonials from all over the world for years. This stuff works, but you need to follow the homework. And you need to ask yourself, those of you who may be in a situation where you have a partner that always brings you down, is always negative. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, I think, in the second hour. You have a question that might help address some of that too. But if that's the case, I would ask you to really go within and ask your soul, why am I with a person who is not supportive and not loving enough that wants to see me progress in life? I would question having a partner like that. I'm sorry, that's my opinion. In most cases, I think you can get the cooperation of your partner. But will it be easy if you constantly have someone negating what you're doing? No. It's very difficult to change your consciousness and succeed when you have the negative influences. We all know that we're affected by people around us. They don't have to be close to us. You could meet somebody for the first time and get vibrations and not want to be around a person. People can bring us up, or they could bring us down or lift us up. Mm-hmm. To be spiritually evolving, if we want to spiritually evolve, we need to surround ourselves with people who are evolving with us, who are supportive, who serve that relationship, who serve us in life, and we serve them, and we grow together. That's my answer.
It's a great answer.
Yeah, that's fantastic advice. There's another element there that doesn't have to do with people in particular. I suppose it does in a kind of a real distant relation. Mm-hmm. But media, something that I found myself personally was that when I turned off the TV, mm-hmm. The flow of negativity was just it's gone. There is so much negativity in the media today. Mm-hmm. One thing I advise anybody that I talk to is turn the news off. Come on. It's the same stuff every day. And, I don't want to be, and I'm not ignorant of what's going on in the world and on the planet, but I don't focus on it. And I just don't have the TV on in the background just for background noise and listening to the negative story after negative story after negative story that is going straight into my subconscious, right?
Mm-hmm. Good for you, Tom. Good for you. That's really important. Yeah. We don't, I always felt, it just really was remarkable to me that, we all we can't bury our heads in the sand. We need to know what's going on. In this day and age, you could get on the internet or a TV and know in 2 minutes what's going on in the world. But I couldn't understand. We didn't need to see that plane hit the tower through 2,000 times in an hour.
Yeah.
We needed to know what happened, but it was that constant. The media plays on the on the public's hunger for negative news. Where there's so many people are conditioned to the negative. Maybe it makes them feel alive. I don't know. Maybe it makes them feel better by themselves if they see some negative news somewhere else. I don't know why anybody would want to constantly be taking in all that, like a sponge taking in the negativity. So good for you. You're doing the right thing. Absolutely. I don't watch television news anymore. And the funny thing is that once you start you have a prosperity consciousness, you know what happens? It's amazing. You'll turn on the TV and there will be a news story that you were supposed to see right there.
Right.
Or you will find that story, or somehow will come into your awareness because, your spirit already knows that you only want uplifting you want your life to be uplifting and everything. What's that expression of a good report?
Right.
Everything is lovely and of a good report. Somewhere about a scripture about that. And so it will let you know. That guidance system will let you know what you need to know. So I don't even look for news, and I just know what's going on. I just see what I'm supposed to see from one, channel or another. But I'm really happy you're doing that. That's really great. Wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, let's go shift gears a little bit. In your book, you talk about why what you think is your source of income is really not your source of income. What do you mean by that?
I have that so memorized because I've talked about that so many times. That is, okay. It's a very, very important component of my teachings, very valuable lesson. It will apply to your financial life. It will apply to every aspect of life. And I've had students who are very knowledgeable in the metaphysics and in these laws. And this was the one thing that turned their lives around. When they got this made all the difference. The floodgates opened. Okay. Your business is not your source of income. Your business, your job, your clients, your investments, customers, even your spouse, none of these are your source of income. There is only one source of income. The universe, God, divine presence, infinite spirit, formless substance, whatever your concept is of that universal source of good. Universe is a great, universal term that, I used. It encompasses all belief systems. The universe is your source of supply. God is the source of your supply, if you prefer. That is the only source of your supply. All of those other avenues are channels for your supply, but they're not the source. And when you truly understand this and know this, then you will open the pipeline to the unlimited channels of supply that exist for you. And there are unlimited channels through which your good can come to you. The expected channels along with the unexpected channels. But you can only become open and receptive to these free-flowing channels when you put your complete reliance on the true source. Now, for simplicity, let's use the analogy of a kitchen faucet. The faucet is not the source of water. It's only a channel. So if that channel is broken, if it's closed or broken, then there are an infinite number of other channels through which we can get our water. Now, another example, I owned a renowned special event company. I served the corporate arena of convention markets, and 9/11. Wow, what that did to conventions and corporate events. 9/11 had a tremendous impact on the industry, like it did with everyone, but the hospitality industry, special events industry, highly impacted. And I was affected by the mass mind thinking. But a wonderful teacher showed up out of the blue and reminded me that if I focus on truth principles, and I would realize that my business of 20 years was not my source of supply. Now, I knew that. Deep down, I knew that. I'd studied these materials for decades, but I had to be reminded. And I knew at that moment what I had to do. And when I did it, channels began to open. Unexpected. Some of them were totally not related to my regular business. Money started to flow in. You see, the minute I put my reliance back on that source, it took care of me. It provided for me. And my business rebounded beyond my dreams. And then it allowed me to transition to fulfill my heart path, which is what I'm doing now, my true purpose. So when you look to your true source of supply, it will become, I like to say, it's the senior partner in your business, in your life. You'll prosper. You'll be in the right place, and whether it's in your present situation or it will take you to a better one, and you will be at peace. Dr. Joseph Murphy said, when you have peace of mind and peace of heart, you'll have all the money you need and want. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are other lessons, of course, to speed our journey on this path, but I cannot emphasize how important this one is. Source versus channels. Very important. So put your reliance where it's supposed to be. That's the spiritual aspect of these laws. We talked in the first hour, we talked about one of the mental aspects, power of words. Now we're talking about that. We've opened that pipeline through teachings, and we've connected with our senior partner in our life. Isn't that a wonderful thought? Just the thought of being under the jurisdiction of this great power of the universe that really cares about us.
Right. Right. Well, when we start tying in these other teachings that we do know, the unity consciousness, we all know we are all one.
Mm-hmm.
And just looking at that concept itself, says, okay, if we're all one, then everything that comes to me through whatever channel is coming from the one, which is universal universe, God, whatever you want to call it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it all ties in when we sit back and think about what you just said there. It's like, oh, wow. Yeah, that's true. That's right.
I didn't make up these laws. I'm just a messenger. I have my own way. We all have our own voice. Every teacher has their own voice. So no, the laws are absolute. Yeah, no, this is, can't be argued.
Yeah.
If somebody argues with it, I say, okay, you go to the universe, universe created all of this. You take it up with the universe. But yes, unity, you mentioned unity. I'm very honored that, in my book, that unity, I do, quote Charles Fillmore from his works, and also Centers for Spiritual Living, that they've all just been just so wonderful and allowed me to share the copyrighted information from both Unity and Centers for Spiritual Living, which of course used to be religious science. So
Right.
it was, what a blessing to think that their works would be somehow in one of my works. It's still miraculous to me that, this is all happening.
Great stuff. So let's go back to the words for a minute here. We were talking about the different ways to express. We can voice something, and we think something. And well, first we're going to think it, right, and then we speak it, and then there's also.
Well, may I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
That may not happen. Sometimes I think we can blurt things out without thinking.
Oh, that's very true. Very true.
So I just wanted you made me think there for a minute. Now I think that's why we get in trouble so many times.
You're right there. Yes, we definitely speak without thinking quite often. Yeah, that's when we go on autopilot.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, technically, yeah, there's thoughts.
But the three primary ways that we express the words that we use, and within each one of them, I think there's a different energy that goes with each one of those, and I'm just curious your take on the effectiveness of each one of those modalities. The effectiveness of the thought, and the effectiveness of the spoken word, and then the effectiveness of the written word, and what is more powerful for us when we're trying to accomplish something.
Well, I'll say that all of them are powerful. Our thoughts are based on our mindset. If we have persistent thoughts that are negative, they may not be true. It could just be based on the subconscious belief system, and that we think it's true. It seems true until we shift our dominant thoughts, and then we go, oh, that wasn't true after all. This is now the truth about me. That's so wonderful when that happens. The spoken word, when you think about vibration and sound vibration, the spoken word reaches out. We start with thoughts, but then when we speak, we're reaching that vibration. Now, I'm not a scientist, so I don't think in terms of science, although I did have some scientific proof in the book about to support my teachings, and something else I'm going to share with you right now that's from the academic world. But I would say that with the spoken word, every word we speak creates a vibration that goes out into the universe and creates its equivalent at some higher vibration. Does that make sense?
Yes, I understand.
I think without any scientific terms. Sound in music, notes in music, all sound is powerful. The vibration of sound. They even have sound healing has even become very popular now. So when we speak a word, we're claiming it in the universal mind. We're imprinting it. It's somehow that we're taking it from within ourselves and putting it out there to the universe. Putting that out to the universe. It's creating a universal substance audience there and imprints it in divine mind. That's my opinion, and that's what my experience has been. So words, when we say words and we speak them aloud, they're more powerful because it's reaching out into the universe and staking a claim, if you will. And then we have the written word. And I've known for decades that writing our desires, writing our affirmations or homework that I give in my lessons, I have known that writing does something more powerful than even the thinking and the speaking. And again, I'm not devaluing the speaking and the thinking. I'm just saying that you're right. There are different modalities that have different impacts. Writing does something not just to the mind, but to the brain. And I looked for the first 7 years of teaching. I was trying to find, the internet, you could find everything. I couldn't find the proof for that. And yet I knew it. Believe me, I often thought that if I ever knew I was going to become a prosperity teacher way back when I was studying and using these laws to change my own life, I would have a warehouse full of notes. Now it all had to come from my intuition and the subconscious when I started. And of course, my take on the teachings of the great lessons. But with writing, 7 years later, a student of mine in the UK sent me an article. He and I had been talking. I said, I wish I could find the proof. And sure enough, there it was. He found this article that was released, a news release that was sent all over the world. And he sent me this copy from Bloomberg Business Week. And this was from January 2011. And again, I'm very thrilled that Bloomberg Business Week gave me permission to, it's not actually, what I'm about to read to you, I've never really shared with the public before, and it's not printed in the book, but there's a link in the book for my students in lesson 1 to go read this. Okay, and this is what I send out when students buy the program. They get this on the second day to encourage them to do the written homework. But here's the proof now that the written homework, it supports my take on the writing and why I have my students do written homework. The article's called Pen Mightier Than Keyboard for Making Imprint on Brain. So now we're getting into the regions of the brain. The act of handwriting activates brain regions that help boost recall, researchers find. This is Health Day News. Oh, they took this from Health Day News. As keyboards increasingly replace pens, new research cautions that the switch may come with an unforeseen price. The loss of critical brain activity central to learning that is uniquely tied to the old-fashioned act of handwriting. The concern stems from the results of a number of experiments recently reviewed by a pair of researchers in France and Norway who concluded that writing by hand is actually a very different sensory experience than typing on a keyboard, with each activating distinctly different parts of the brain. Quote, our bodies are designed to interact with the world which surrounds us, co-author Associate Professor Anne Mangen from the University of Stavanger's Reading Center in Stavanger, Norway, hope I'm pronouncing that right, said in a university news release, we are living creatures geared toward using physical objects, be it a book, a keyboard, or a pen, to perform certain tasks. This is evident, she said, in tests that reveal that the act of handwriting, literally the feeling of touching a pen to paper, appears to imprint a motor memory in the sensory motor region of the brain. In turn, this process promotes the visual recognition of letters and words, suggesting that the two seemingly separate acts of reading and writing are, in fact, linked, Mangen explained. And then it goes on with some more detail. Those who study the alphabet by writing the letters out by hand perform better on all subsequent recall tests than those who study solely on computers. What's more, brain scans revealed that while learning by handwriting prompted activity in a particular part of the brain known as Broca's area, learning by keyboarding prompted little or no such activity. And again, it goes on. For the sake of time, I won't read the rest. But that's it. That was the proof that I had been looking for 7 years. And why, when my students do their written homework, why they get such fantastic results. Because we're now imprinting the brain in a way. So the thought, the spoken word, and writing do have different effects on our body. But writing has become turned into typewriting. We're talking about writing. We're talking about handwriting. And in fact, I had heard some of the students that have written to me, and I have thousands of students all over, so most of them I don't know personally, but I've had some write to me that told me they were copywriting experts or salespeople, that they learned that in order to learn their sales material, they were to write those sales letters by hand. That's apparently copywriting schools teach that. or certain schools and sales. Yes, they have their people copy material by hand so that it would imprint it in the brain. So that all ties together.
Wow.
So that's it.
Wow. Yeah, that's a interesting tidbit of information because so many people now have migrated over to the keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything's done on a computer now or a keyboard of some form, and yeah, that can be powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody complains, I tell in my notes for new students, they say, writer's cramp. Don't complain about writer's cramp. That just means you're using prosperity muscles you never used before.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's go off into another section here. Now, you've said that loose lips sink ships, and why silence is golden for manifesting. I'm curious what you mean by that. I mean, when we all this, the stuff that's out there about manifesting, it's all about, putting things out to universe, doing this, doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So why would silence be beneficial in the manifestation process?
Okay, you want to know? All right.
Yes.
And some people do. They go out, there are people that say, oh, we're supposed to, if we go on a diet, we're supposed to let everyone know so we have accountability. Well, I come from a different school of thought, and I'm happy to say that some of my greatest influences, those great teachers from before us, they agree with me and I agree with them. So I've got support. But here's what I mean by that. And loose lips sink ships is a great reminder. Okay, the question is, should we share our vision or intention? And, I've studied for a long time. I've applied, I've accomplished using these laws for decades. And here's what I've come to believe. I wholeheartedly believe this. There is power in silence. Manifesting power comes from you said something, Tom, is that, we put it out to the universe. Yes, to the universe. Not to every naysayer in the world, to the universe. Manifesting power comes from your personal connection with the universal source of all good, not from others, even though they may be harmonious and supportive. It's really a matter of keeping the energy contained and focused, which increases the creative and manifesting power of universal spiritual substance. By sharing our intentions, energy is dissipated and the focus is compromised. Mm-hmm. It's in the dark silence of the soil that the seed begins the process of creation. Actually, I feel a little subconscious slip there. That's also in the dark silence of the soil where the sin begins the process of creation. Well, I don't believe in sin. It's ignorance, not sin, but you know what I mean. Okay, yeah. It's the dark silence of the soil where the seed begins the process of creation, and having been acted upon by creative substance, universal creative substance, it grows into a beautiful flower for all to see. So, we should not announce our pending manifestations to others. Keep silent about your results and goals until they are consummated. Manifestations, as you know, can be very exciting. You may want to share as soon as they begin, but don't announce them until they are completed. This will keep the energy focused like a laser beam, and it maintains your connection, your clear connection with the universe through the completion. It keeps our reliance back where it belongs, on our source. So wait until the completion, until contracts are signed or agreements are confirmed, and until it's a done deal. It's a good reminder, done deal. Now, we mentioned something earlier. I think we talked about this earlier about spouses. I think this goes back to the thing about the influence of others. Maintaining silence also prevents us from being influenced by the unconscious agenda or negative opinions of others. This is important. I don't want to get into the psychology behind this. I'm not a psychologist. I just know this is so, and you probably have, would think, you probably know a little bit about this anyway. We've all experienced this, I think, in life. Others may consciously wish you success, but their deeper agenda may not be aligned with your goals and desires. And it may not be intentional, but it exists even among family members. For example, a family member may love you and want you to be successful, but on an unconscious level, they feel that if you achieve success, they won't be needed anymore. Or a friend's insecurities may trigger envy of your potential success. So it's really not unusual for others to subdue your passion, your enthusiasm, and even thwart your attempts because of their own limiting beliefs or their lack of ambition. So it's not necessary to understand the psychology about this with these situations, but it's important to be aware that they do exist. And that's another reason why we should go within to our secret inner place, take our desires to the Father, quote Father, the law, God, universe, who sees in secret. This is based on another scripture, that desires to the Father, who sees in secret, and this power will fulfill our desires, and we will be rewarded openly when everyone sees our results. In other words, you share your vision with the universal creative power. You ask for guidance. You will attract the right people and the right circumstances to help you fulfill that vision. So what you should do is let your intuition and not your intellect guide you to those people with whom to share. So it's fine to share your progress with your personal mentor, or if you have a coach, or in a personal mastermind, or prosperity group. It's okay as long as each member is supporting the others. So I manifest quickly. I easily use this principle, and one of the great lessons I have learned is to keep quiet. And the way I remember it, I create a reminder for myself. I borrowed that old World War II slogan, loose lips sink ships. It means beware of unguarded talk. Now, it was originally meant to keep one from speaking of ship movements, as that talk could be overheard by enemy agents who might intercept and destroy the ships. But the slogan has remained, even to this day, as an admonition to avoid careless talk in general. And it works for me. It keeps my manifesting energy focused where it should be and in safe, quote, safe territory. So my students' experiences further support this aspect of law, and I teach them not to share a result until it's fully consummated. And then, once your manifestation is complete, then it's great fun to go out and shout it from the rooftops, once it's a done deal.
Oh, yeah. You know, I can think of so many examples in my life where I spoke too soon. You know, I'm manifesting the things I want, and I spoke just a little bit too soon, and right before I get it in hand, something happens.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, it could be that, it's hard. You don't want to think that you're losing we never lose connection with that universal power, but there's something there that I think can short circuit. And that's why I believe I have seen students do that at the beginning, especially. I saw it happen, and that's why I decided, yes, this is part of my teaching. And I see proof of it everywhere. We need to keep quiet. And then then when it happens, we go out. I had 3 book deals. The first 2 I walked away from. And then 5 years later, and I thought I was crazy, and yet my heart said they weren't the right publishers. They will always be acknowledged, but I knew they weren't the right publishers. 5 years later, I was, signed by Penguin Random House. But the funny thing is, I have my, great social media presence. I have a large community worldwide. I never talked about those deals until I knew there was a contract in hand and something was really happening, even though it was so exciting to want to share, especially with social media. But, I really have always followed this, and it just seems to just clinch your manifestation ability. It just cements it all together.
Wow. Nice. So we are the 100th Monkey Radio, and the whole 100th Monkey concept is all about the collective consciousness and that unity consciousness. So looking at this program and how you bring things into manifestation, how does this how will this tie into doing things on a group level, or working with more collective issues, like world hunger or world peace, or even like a focused something that a group themselves, say a group of a dozen people, get together and want to accomplish something. How does this play out, or how does this integrate, or what the word I'm looking for? I'm missing the word.
How does it apply?
Apply. There we go. Thank you.
I know there's probably a better word, but we're doing okay here. We're communicating well.
I think everybody knows what we're talking about.
Yeah, they know what we're talking about. from the best I understand your question, I'll give you what I do know, what I feel, and think, and believe, is that, remember we talked about the key to making that shift in the subconscious is the dominant thought, right?
Right.
Well, guess what? We have a dominant thought in our subconscious. I mean, we have a subconscious, and we're creating a dominant thought. But there's also a subconscious of a group of 2, of 5, of 12, a neighborhood, a community, a city, a state, a country, and a planet. So why, if it applies to us individually with the subconscious, why would that same law not apply to the subconscious, the collective subconscious of the planet or of any group? And I think the term is what critical mass. My belief is that as soon as we create that subconscious dominant thought of peace on this planet, or any group, size group, we will have it. And remember what I said earlier about we don't have to take we don't have to take all the negative thoughts out of our subconscious mind.
Right.
Remember?
Right.
Well, guess what? We don't have to get rid of all of these negative, quote, evil. Again, I don't believe in evil. I believe in ignorance, spiritual ignorance. We don't have to get rid of it all. We need to just create enough of a dominant thought that's what will rule our lives. And those, just like our negative thoughts that are buried in there, they will still be buried in there, but they won't affect our lives. In the same way, I believe if we do the same thing with the collective subconscious of the planet, yeah, there'll be there are always going to be negative factors there, but it won't affect our world peace. It won't affect the greater good, put it that way. And I believe that we, as individuals, each one of us that acquires a prosperity consciousness, and when I say prosperity consciousness in this instant, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about prosperity in all levels, peace, health, creativity, spiritual evolution, all of that, prosperity in every area. When we do that individually, when we open up that pipeline to the divine guidance, to divine appointment, to the messages for us individually, we become part of that critical mass. Enough of us create the critical mass. So my belief is that anything we do individually is affecting the greater good of the group of 12 or the group of 100 or thousands or 10, 100,000 or the planet. There is a saying, and again, I didn't study religions, and I was born a Jew and Reformed Jews, but I never felt any affinity to Judaism or any religion, and I knew I was going to take an independent path. I knew mine would be one of unity and independence of spiritual law. But it's funny how just the right scripture from the Bible, or just the right situation from Judaism or even Hinduism. I have students from every faith. I have one story in the book from a woman who lives in Chicago, poignant story, and she was raised in India, very poor, and she tells her story, and she says, "Feel free to prosper" teachings are just the same as Vani, which is in Hinduism, power of the spoken word. So I realized from my students and from the exposure I've had that these teachings are relevant to all the major religions, the positive aspects of the major religions, and unfortunately a lot of that has been distorted. But the whole purpose of religion, in my opinion, if you choose to take a religious path, the whole purpose is your connection, is to create your connection with your Creator and with your fellow man. That's really the common denominator, is love. Now, in the Talmud, there is an expression, and I don't know the Talmud, but I know this expression, and at first I didn't really understand it, but then as I became a better teacher, I understood what this meant. And paraphrasing that expression or that line is that if you change one life, he who changes one life will change the world. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You who changes, just change one life. And when I started teaching Feel Free to Prosper, I said, whether this turns out to be financially successful or whatever happens, if my experience can change one life, it will be worth it. It will be worth teaching these laws. So that's kind of the way I relate it to we are the greater good. We are the planet. Each of us has the power. And don't think your thoughts and words don't reach out into that universal mind. I always believe that if we stop complaining Look at all the people that complain about our political leaders.
Right.
Complain about the president. Yes, well, guess what happens? If you're into law of attraction and like attracts like,
We're going to get more of the same.
Exactly. And then the same thing with these spiritual laws. It's outlined. What you complain about, you create more of. The more you complain, the more you'll get.
Right.
So if we focus instead on great political leaders and focused on good thoughts, it doesn't mean we can't go out and write to the editor and start grassroots movements and make change, but those changes will be inspired action that's supposed to make change. Sitting around complaining about something only creates more of the same. You want the best leaders? Fine, focus on the best leaders. Stop complaining about the ones you don't like.
Right.
So we affect, if that helps. As far as the group consciousness, of course, groups get World Prayer Day. There are all kinds of global situations where it's all helping. It's all helping. But if enough of us individually work on our consciousness, we add to that group that creates the critical mass, the new dominant thought of the planet.
Yeah, I love what you said there about when you began, if you just affected one person. That's almost, you said it almost exactly the way that Ramon and I said it 7 years ago when we started the show. It was like, if we help one person, it's all we have to do is help one person. We didn't care how long it took, how much money we spent, how much time we invested. If we helped one person, then our show was a complete success.
So we're totally in sync. And the thing is that it's kind of selfish, my doing this work. Hey, it's selfish because it's giving meaning to my life.
Well, I mean,
if that's selfish, and if you help one person, that gives meaning to your life.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And the fact that I've been able to help so many thousands, and that I would even end up at this stage of my life with no formal education and just all the experiences I went through to end up with a book deal with the largest publisher in the world.
Right.
I can tell you I see the miracles happen all the time for my students, and I've seen them happen for me. But this one, I'm still pinching myself. This is real, right? I'm really on your show, and I am out there talking to the media. Yes. Well, that's because it was destiny. We each have, and I really want to say this before we end the show, is each of us has a destiny. Each one of us. We all are here for a reason. We have gifts and talents that were meant to be our individual gift and contribution. It could be, doesn't mean we have to affect the whole world. We could have, our world could be our family, could be our neighbors, we're all here to use those gifts. And it's such a shame that so many people are caught up in the fear of money that keeps them in unhappy jobs and doing work that they're not aligned with, for fear, out of all the fear of and the insecurity. And if they will learn to tune in to this power, they will be guided, just as I was guided, you were guided, to the work that we're supposed to be doing. To serve ourselves and fulfill our souls, and to serve others.
Right.
And we all have that. And that's what I always said. The mental laws we need to deal with the mental aspect of these laws in order to get rid of that, not get rid of, but, overcome that debris that's in the subconscious that keeps us from aligning to the spiritual aspect. But the ultimate goal of my teachings is to have every student, every follower, every reader of my books, listener to my books, is to connect, become aligned with that power that can guide them to exactly where they are supposed to be and will bring them happiness.
Exactly. Well, you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
On the cover of your book, you put a butterfly. I'm curious, why the butterfly?
Well, are you ready?
I am.
Yeah.
Okay. My Feel Free to Prosper website that someone will go to now is an old website. It's a static website. And I won't get into the challenges and time, but everything was happening so fast with the expansion, and some designers just couldn't get the new website done, and it just went on and on. So my original logo is the Feel Free to Prosper header, the banner on the Feel Free to Prosper website. And the designer that created the butterflies were not drawn. They were actually photos. And I loved that. I never would have thought I'd want butterflies as a logo on my website. And yet when I saw it, it made me smile. All I know is it made me feel really good. And she did a beautiful logo. And anyone can see that if they go to feelfreetoprosper.com, not the book page, but the website, at least for the next few weeks, because we'll have the new website up in a few weeks. But the point is that it was my first website. It was my first, business. I was on the internet, and I loved it. And it became a brand for my program. The Feel Free to Prosper program has that on the picture of the program. That is a banner where it started. When I signed with Penguin Random House, May of 2014, they were so excited to get started. They sent me a draft cover. And I said, "Oh no!" We had a meeting. I said, "I don't want butterflies. I have most of my students and followers are business people, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, working people. I don't know. I don't butterflies on the book." And I rejected that cover. And they were supposed to make a new cover, and they were just very slow in getting it done. They had to correct the subtitle also, and then in September, when they said they finally had 2 covers, by then, they had to put that cover up. They put it on Amazon. It was already out there for, even before we had the description and everything. I guess somebody in their marketing just wanted to get the book out there before it was even done. And everybody loved that cover. And I liked the colors. I loved the bold colors. And I wanted them to take the butterfly off, but they sent me 2 new covers that weren't even, no way, not, and I had grown fond of that butterfly over that year. For some reason, it just grew on me, and I finally said, that's the cover, because so many people really liked it. Now, what they did on the physical book, they embossed the butterfly in the title, and I have to tell you, when my editor, that was just like a week, 2 weeks ago, when he wrote and said, "I have the first bound copies of Feel Free to Prosper on my desk," and he said, "It's stunning. I can't wait for you to see this. I'm going to send you a couple copies." And he was right. The cover is absolutely beautiful on the physical book. So what I could say is I almost rejected it, but I think it took them 8 months to create a new cover because the universe wanted me to have that cover.
There you go.
So, well, some people not like the butterfly. Okay, I learned long ago you can't please everybody, and it's silly to try, but on the book page, the funny thing is if you go to the book page that we just created, the designer created, he put just the butterfly, not the whole banner, but just up in one corner. He put that because he knew there was a history and an emotional connection to it. But yes, the banner is totally different now. It's all very modern and clean and everything. But that's the butterfly story. Interesting. You're the first one who ever mentioned that.
The first thing that popped into my head was butterfly effect.
No, it's really about butterfly.
But you're familiar with
transformation. It's transformation.
Well,
it symbolizes, yeah.
You know how the butterfly effect is similar to the ripple in the water, right? A drop of pebble and the wave reaches every corner of the pond, right?
But I never thought of that with a butterfly on the cover. But now that you mentioned that kind of shadow ripple effect or whatever, right. Yeah, it could. It never occurred to me that could. To me, it was always just about the transformation. It's traditionally the caterpillar, transforming into the butterfly, and then some
transformation that's touching every corner of the planet. That's what I like right there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the cover symbolizes that? Do you think it's
Yeah. Yes, I do. That's what I feel out of it. It's that transformation, the change, what you're bringing forth here with this work. It's powerful. It's a powerful tool for people to change themselves and in turn change the whole planet. I mean, I've always had I've had this vision of, I see the whole planet and I get this visually in my mind's eye, and I see these little lights popping up all over the planet. And every time a light pops up, it shines light over, and you can see a shadow of all the other lights that aren't quite lit yet. And the light shines on them, and it's actually, and then you see them popping. It's a visual that I have.
Beautiful.
And I mean, I just see it. I see it. This is one of those things that is definitely helping to raise the conscious baseline of the planet, of all of humanity.
Well, thank you for even being part. If you to think that I'm part of that light, it's an honor indeed. Thank you for saying that, because it's not about being an author. It's not about having a book. Everybody has books now. You could do a book in a weekend these days. Right. I mean, the whole publishing industry has changed, so anybody can have books out. And I still think of it as a really profound thing. For me, it's not just a book, and it's really about just getting what what apparently are these proven, methods of changing our lives to get it out to more people. And I'm just, it feels like this is probably the most important thing that's ever happened in my life. So thank you for saying that.
Well, thank you.
It means a lot.
So what's on your plate next? What have you got planned for the future? Are you going to do some promotion for the book this year?
Well, my contract a year and a half ago with Penguin Random House said that if I wanted a publicist or marketing, they have their publicity department, they do their things. But the reason a large publisher takes on an author, they could love your work, but if you don't have a platform, come on, they expect you to go out and do your part.
Right.
So I thought I just spent the last over a year, I turned down all projects, everything, and just nothing but working on the manuscript, which was written actually 5 years ago. And I was so focused, I didn't even think about publicity. And I figured I would hire a book publicist. And then a big surprise, one day I got an email from Sarah, and she says, "I'm your book publicist." I said, "What?" She says, apparently they love you so much, they hired me to be your book publicist. And I said, "Really?" So she has me booked now from starting this week all the way through, it's going into April. Sometimes 2-3 interviews a day. And yes, I am going to, it's a good thing I've been speaking on telesummits for the past few years. And I've, been used to speaking to people around the world, because wow, that was good rehearsal. I didn't realize that was rehearsal for what's coming. Yes, I have interviews here, the UK, and we'll just have to see what happens right after the book release. I think it's going to be very, very busy. And I'm the kind of person that, I don't even believe in business plans. I am just totally, I have a saying. This is in my writings, in my book, and in my programs for years. The universe is my marketing department. The universe is my publicist. The universe is my agent. And isn't it interesting that I have the most incredible agent, the most incredible publisher, the most incredible publicist? And because I go back to source. So right now, I am just following direction. Right. I rely on the universe to open those doors, and then I take action and walk through. And that's just the way I do things.
Right. Well, universe is smiling on you. It's saying yes.
Actually, that's one of my expressions. Oh, you were so tuned in. Oh my gosh, yes. Well, you have it in quite a few ways here. We are kindred souls. Yeah. I often will say the universe is smiling on us, or universe is smiling on you. Maybe it's not that original. Maybe others have used it, but thank you very much. Yeah, it's now just, I want to just enjoy what's happening. And I also have that entrepreneurial gene, as you know, my background. Having created a business, right. I love the unknown.
Right.
So many people are hung up on they're so insecure. They have to know what's happening. No. You know why? Because the unknown has no limits. It could be anything.
Right. Absolutely.
So let's see where this takes us. The most important thing, again, is that these teachings are in the hands of people who need them the most. And that's it.
Right. And it's amazing the way universe puts them in those hands, too. The synchronicities abound when you open yourself to it.
That's my memoir. The name of my memoir, which you know about, is that's the other Feel Free to Prosper book that's coming out probably by May. It's an entrepreneurial memoir of synchronicity and guidance. Nice. By the way, did you know where the word synchronicity came from?
No, not.
This is going to surprise you, I think. I was really surprised. I just found this out. That memoir was written in 2006 and 2007 online. It's still free to read online till the book release. But the memoir, Synchronicity and Guidance, I didn't even know it through all of that. But just a couple of years ago, I found out that it's not part of the English language, that Carl Jung actually created that word.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yes, he coined the word.
No, he did that. Huh.
Talk about creating something that took, went around the world, or around the,
right.
So many people use that word, but yeah, it doesn't have any root with the English language, or with any other language.
It's interesting.
But yeah, synchronicities abound. In fact, on the 27th, I'm going to be speaking on a summit that they want me to talk about my book journey and how it was all purely guidance and synchronicity. How do you turn down 2 book deals, prestigious book deals? when everybody in the world's looking for agents and publishers, and I didn't even set out to write books, and yet I turned down 2 book deals. Why? I thought I was crazy, but my heart said they're not the right publisher. See, it's listening to that guidance. And 5 years later, I'm signed with my right publisher because I had to grow and earn them. I earned Penguin Random. I didn't sit around for 5 years.
Right.
I was out there teaching and doing what I need to do. But it's all about the entire path. I like to say miracles are the new normal. This is the way life is supposed to be. Exactly. We get in the way. It's supposed to flow with synchronicities and guidance. And yes, that's the natural way of life.
It really is. I definitely feel more natural in that place,
And when you have those synchronicities, don't you wish it was always like that? Say, why doesn't that happen? Well, it can be. It can happen all the time. Happen all the time.
I think they do for almost everybody, but most people are they're so veiled to it. They I don't know. I've watched them happen to other people, and I don't know if it's a sense of, maybe it's that sense of security that they don't want to lose, or the going into the unknown that keeps people in their comfort zone, I suppose.
It's fear.
Yeah.
Listen, you're either ruled by fear or you're ruled by faith.
Yeah.
Or fear and love. You could say love. And I personally believe love is the greatest power in the universe. But it's not just the love, kind of love, the earthly love we talk about. It's, I believe that the most important thing in my life, and I believe that is the most important thing, is our connection to the universe. And that love, that feeling of love and that connection, because that's what creates everything else. That's what brings us our children, our families, and our work, and our gifts, and our talents. That's it. It all comes from Source. And if we can develop that loving relationship with Source, you know something? It makes the rest so much easier. So easy and so fulfilling.
Wow. Feel free to prosperbook.com. Marilyn Jenett. What a fantastic show we've had tonight. I want to thank you so much for all the work that you've done, for not being afraid, and for stepping up to the plate when universe knocked on your door.
After I was afraid for a long time.
We all got to go.
Now don't think I didn't come out of the womb this way, believe me. Remember I said stuff, whatever I've been through it, but I'm congratulating myself for having opened myself up to a better way and not accepting my lot.
Right.
There's got to be a better way, and thank God my way was to study these laws. So thank you.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, everybody out there. We love you so much. And man, like we said at the beginning of the show, we do have some interesting stuff coming up for you at the beginning of the year. So stay tuned for that. And next week, we have Anelia Benz on for our New Year's show. That'll be on January 3rd. So look forward to that. I just love Anelia, and Ramon's going to join us for that show.
Oh, nice.
So we'll have Ramon back in the co-host seat also, and we'll chat with Anelia for a while and see what she sees for the upcoming year. So, all right, feel free to prosperbook.com. All the links are on the show page here, guys, and I would urge you to go over and take a look at this book. It is definitely well worth your while. Love you guys. Condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance.
Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change.
Namaste, my friends.